Hello, everybody. We're live. I'm sorry I posted the StreamYard so late. I just got finished fixing my computer because I'm a huge procrastinator. So, welcome. welcome. Since I am late, there is something I need to do. Oh, I know what. So, hopefully, you won't lose me. How do I do that? Okay, so I need to go. I don't want to remove Chrome. I just want to minimize it a little bit. No, cancel. Don't want to leave site. There we go. There we go. Hello, Joe. How are you feeling today? Okay, I have to find the one from today. Okay. Notes. Hopefully that new one will pop up. Minimize. Okay, here we go. Today has been tough being alone with thoughts of my dad. That is so difficult. So difficult. Well, I'm glad that you got to pop in today. And yeah, what do you say? What do I say to help you feel better, Joe? That's my question to you, is because I don't want to just be, in general. I want to say something that's going to be uplifting and help you through this time. And honestly, people that I'm close to, like you, Joe, I have a harder time saying anything because I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like somebody I don't know, you just say, and we did pray. Yeah, we did pray for you and your dad and your whole family, to get through this struggle. Because I understand that being close with a parent and then losing a parent is very difficult. Hi, Wilma. How are you? You just woke up. I just went live. So, if there's anything that we can do, Joe, to help you through this day, please let us know. Please let us know. Just whatever you believe, pray or juju to my family. I'll be okay. It's just a little lost right now. Yeah, and that's okay. That's the part I want you to know. We grieve in our own way. So as long as you're grieving and you're feeling like you're going to get through it even though you're down right now, because you're going to be, you just lost your father. Even though we know that you're strong and you're going to get through it, and that if you do have difficulty, you can always go in that chat and send us a message, and then you saw some of the people get back with you. I heard, but yeah, so maybe like just listening, just hanging out might be a good thing. But yeah, I wish I could be there just to help you with whatever you need help with, to talk with you, one on one. And I know I can't, but just so you know, we're praying for you and your family and your dad, and just that you get through this and that he is happy in heaven. What happened to me? What happened to me? Hopefully I'm back. Is my Wi-Fi kind of stinking today? It might be. It might be. And Wilma, I didn't get to read all your message. You said that you weren't going to might not be able to make it. But here you are. And he's on the road to recovery. My friend and his wife were live 4:30 a.m. our time this morning. Oh, my sister called from the Philippines. We helped their channel. I brought her. My sister had to work and I got to sleep in. Okay. Right now, I'm just trying to distract myself. I'm amazed at the amount of sympathy cards and gifts from my YouTube friends. That is so awesome, Joe. Because I really think that even though we're really far away, we make really good friends. I mean, there are the crazy people and the stalkers and the trolls and whatnot, but the friends that you make on YouTube are still friends. Because if people just go, oh, that's your YouTube friend, like, that's true. Hey, Maniac Grammy, how are you doing? So good to see you. So good to see you. So I should probably get to what we're talking about today, huh? I looked up some articles this time. I'm much more prepared than I was last week. I was a mess last week in the living room. I finally fixed my computer. That's why I'm running late, because of course I procrastinated to do that. And yeah, we're going to talk about asking for help today. How are you doing? How are you doing, Grammy? How are you feeling today? And I know you're in, is it Maine? I know you're where it's going to be cold, I know. How's your weather up there? We're cold here, but it's going to warm up into the 70s again this weekend. So, and then Monday, my cousin and I were going to go we're going to go look at the leaves. We're going to go up north a little bit, not too far, but a little bit, and look at the leaves and the trees and all the stuff. Because in Michigan right now, we have moderate color down here in southern Michigan. So by next Monday, it's going to be really, really pretty down here. So, and I know you probably get some pretty fall colors where you're at as well. It's cold, 37 this morning, leaves coming. Oh, okay. All your leaves have already turned. Okay. We've been in the 80s and the 70s, a little bit in the 60s, but our trees don't know which way to turn, pretty much. That's how it is in Michigan. But yeah, it's been cold. I think we're in the 30s like that because we had frost this morning. And so they said though it's gonna be cold at night, but by Saturday it's supposed to be in the 70s again. So yeah, Maine, yeah. So you guys, all your trees already turned and stuff then, because the UP has already hit their main colors. Now Middle Michigan is where the colors are changing, and it'll come down. So by Monday, in my area, we'll be able to see some pretty. And we're gonna go up to, it's about an hour, almost 2 hours away, but it's a pie place. They make homemade, pies and stuff. We're gonna do a bunch of other stuff up there, but I'm excited to go to the pie place because I like pie, but I'm not good at making it. I've tried a couple times. It's been okay, but yeah. So we're gonna get some pie. I'm gonna get one for Thanksgiving. My family, it's a pumpkin pie and a pecan pie together. It sounds delicious. I don't know if anybody's ever had anything like that, but like pecan or pumpkin pie, a layer of maybe cream or something, and then pecan pie on the bottom. So it sounds just delicious. So next week I should have some tales to tell. But today we are going to start talking about, since I was such a mess last week, we're going to start talking about why is it so hard for us to ask for help in any way? Mental health, physical health, just in general, at work, at home, with family, with friends. Why is it so difficult for us? Let's see if I can get this to open. Notes. It's not loading for some reason. Shopping. Today, ask for help. Previous 30 days. It's at the top. It just says ask for help. I'm having trouble finding my notes. So we'll just put this right back over here. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Right there. Can you guys see me when I do that? Hey, Shelly. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Hippy Dippy. How are you? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So good to see you guys. Shelly, are you in our group chat? I don't know if I put you in it for Mental Health Wellness Wednesdays, but if you'd like, I can put you in there. Just let me know. And I don't know if Hippy Dippy is, but if anybody's interested, all you got to do is message me or tell me here, and I will add you. All right. So my notes. Come on, notes. What's going on? Why can't I get the ones that I want? Okay, is there like a refresh? I know what, I'm going to close it and reopen it. All right. Close it. Reopen it. Can you pull it down? Is there any way to? No. iCloud. Is that it? I think I found it. I think I got it. No. It just says hello, everybody. Okay, I'm going to quit messing with this and we're going to chat. So, all right. Hello. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been around. No worries, Shelly. No worries. No, I'm not in it. I've been really struggling with my mental health lately. Would you like to be in the chat, Shelly? So whenever it's a bunch of us and whenever you're having an issue, you can go in there and you can type it out and like a text, and then we'll read it, and then some people will message you back if they're online. Okay, I'll put you in because I have you on Instagram too, I believe. I know I have you on Facebook. Let me write that down. All right, the kittens were in here when we had them, and so I can't seem to find anything right now, which is not horrible, but irritating. All right. So I will put you in there, Shelly. I just need to find a pen or something to remind myself. If I don't remind you, you can always message, or if I don't remember, you can message me on Instagram or even Facebook. I'm Crystal and Keith Johnson on Facebook. Okay. So hopefully we can, we're going to chat about how to ask for help and the reasons that we have difficulty asking for help. And I still don't understand why. Let me see if I can airdrop this. Let me airdrop it. Airdrop. No, people phone. What are you talking about? There we go. There it is. There it is. It showed up finally. All right. Why don't we ask for help? Now, I found several articles. And since I don't have any of them open, we're going to just start with the first one. So, that's not it. Where am I? StreamYard. There we are. Okay. I have you on Facebook and IG. Okay. Yeah. So I'll put you on IG. So on IG, it's Real Lady Electrician, but Facebook is just my family and stuff. And then a few people that I follow from YouTube, but I don't put my YouTube stuff on Facebook because some of my family I'm not a fan of. So it's separate. Mm. So anyway, um, yes, Miss Joe is here. I have this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is share screen. Make this bigger. We're going to present, share screen. Because remember, I couldn't do that last year. Why is it so hard to ask for help? Yeah, that's the one we want. Chrome tab. Okay, and share. All right. There it is. All right. So let me get that set up. This is Harvard Business Review. And it is called, Why Is It So Hard to Ask for Help? Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Can we do it like, is that better? Yeah, I think if you do it. So we were talking last week about how there are stigma, there's just people's attitudes sometimes, and how it can be difficult, especially in our age group, 40s and 50s. And then, of course, anyone else here, younger people have it probably as well. But I think the stigma for younger people, it could depend also on their family as well. But a lot of the younger generations are doing much better with mental health than those of us in the older generations. And that's not, I'm not stereotyping, I'm just saying from my experience, I'm the older generation, I'm in my 50s. So when I first started having trouble, it was really hard to ask for help. And I don't know why it was difficult. So I just wanted to find a few articles that could tell us reasons that we maybe didn't ask for help, and it might, a light bulb moment might happen, and I'm like, that is why I couldn't ask for help. So, and why it was so difficult, and why it's difficult for some people. I don't ask for help because of two reasons: because I'm stubborn and because I think I can fix it myself. You know, that's not uncommon, Shelley. I was the same way before I actually asked for help. Yeah. Because it's like, it's better if I do it, because if someone else does it, they may not do it right. Whatever it is, fixing, all the things. And we're talking about asking for help in everything. Like, I couldn't even ask for help to help upkeep my home. I was so stubborn. I had to do it all myself. Same, Shelley, and plus I'm from the walk it off era. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure Shelley can understand that as well. Yeah, I think a lot of us are from that era. So, all right. Let me go over here. We're going to start reading. Why is it so hard to ask for help? Harvard Business Review. So, Martha was under a lot of stress. Her company's supply chain was experiencing major disruptions, requiring her team to put in extra time, even though her people were highly qualified. She was very reluctant to ask any of them to do more. They already had enough on their plate, she believed, and it was her responsibility to step. She had the same attitude towards her boss. Martha didn't want to approach him for help, figuring if she did, he would not be pleased. Okay, this is a personal story. This isn't really what I was looking for. There were pressures. Her children were young, need a lot of attention. Her husband, she knew that getting her husband to pitch in more would be an uphill battle. His job was demanding. He was deeply involved in sports, something she felt he needed to do to relax. So it just seemed easier to manage the family and household responsibilities herself. Does this sound familiar? Although humans are social creatures, ready to both give and accept help, many of us struggle to actually ask for it. Over time, that can make us miserable and bitter, and with the shift toward remote working now leaving many of us isolated from our colleagues, the challenges of asking for help only intensified. Of course, there's nothing wrong with being self-reliant. It's a much admired trait in our society. But if you want to be fulfilled and successful at work, it is important to acknowledge when you're working beyond your individual capacity and be open to seeking assistance. How can we learn to do this? Let's begin by looking at where the reluctancy comes from. Okay, I'm gonna scroll that up there, and then we're gonna go back here. Um, exactly. Plus, I'm from the we keep our problems to ourselves. Yes. Hey, metal music. I've noticed the older the earth gets, fewer people help each other out, and we keep driving. That's true. A lot of our culture is um, keep to yourself, don't put your business out there, all that kind of stuff. And I think it just gets ingrained in everybody. So to fight the social norm about keeping it to yourself and not saying anything, and from whence we came, fighting that social norm is scary. It's scary. What are people gonna think of me? What's gonna happen to me? Is am I gonna cause problems for my family? Are there gonna be we can go round and round our heads, especially those of us with anxiety. We can just be going round and round with all this stuff. And so that makes it even harder to ask for help. Um, but yeah, neither of us are real social with our neighbors. I know a lot of people are social with their neighbors. I mean, we say hello, we're not rude or anything, and we try to be good neighbors. I'm 61, so yeah, I'm so old school, it's not even funny. You're from the same time. Yeah, you understand what we're talking about here, that back then, if you were in therapy, there's a problem and you didn't tell anybody. If you were on medication, you absolutely didn't tell anybody. And a lot of times, instead of getting help and medication, people would, what's that called? Self medicate, drinking, drugs, um, fighting, just so much, what's it called? Dysfunctional things going on in families, secrets. You don't tell anybody, you don't talk to anybody about it. Yeah. So, my dad's entire family, maybe one sister, is not an alcoholic or a drug addict. And we're old enough to remember the mental slides. Yes, the metal slides on the playground and how to use them so you don't get burned. Apparently, kids nowadays can't do that. Yeah, yeah. So, plus, I don't like bothering people with my issues, and I have PTSD from therapist. Oh, from a therapist? That's horrible, Shelley. I am so sorry that that happened to you. That someone you trust caused you PTSD. Yeah, not cool. Not cool. And that's another thing. We don't want to bother anybody. We don't want to seem like, because when we were young, the kid that was acting out, running around, being, doing whatever, they were the bad kid, right? Well, now a lot of those bad kids are considered autistic. So when we were younger, we were told, remember, children are to be seen. You're not supposed to talk. The adults can talk. You're not, what's that called? Seen and not heard. You're supposed to be seen and not heard. So we weren't given a voice. We weren't given a platform at our young ages to say, hey, I don't feel that this is right, because you didn't do that. You didn't talk back to your parents. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't do that. So, yes, they like to do the blame game. Yes, yes. And so now we're finding, now in this day, finally, at 50 years old, I had social anxiety. I know for sure when I was in kindergarten, junior high, high school, but we didn't talk about it back then. It was a tummy ache and I didn't want to go to school. But I was made to go to school and none of my problems were addressed because they didn't know. So I'm not blaming anybody about that. They just didn't know back then what we know now. So I thank God for that we're becoming a more engaged society as far as mental health and things like that. So I'm glad for that. It's just still very hard for some people, a lot of people, to ask for help when they need it. Excuse me. And sometimes I've been in that situation where I've been overwhelmed and had no idea what to do. So overwhelmed. It was when I was drinking, I wasn't self-medicating, I was double medicating. I was already on mental health meds, and I was also drinking, which is why I had to go to rehab. But it was so I couldn't get help from anywhere. And even my colleagues, they were like, we just grin and bear it, like, right, Shelly, the old school. And Joe, we were talking about this, just suck it up, buttercup. I don't want to be a burden on anyone. Right, Patrick, that's what we've been raised like that. A good kid, a good person, a good adult is someone who doesn't burden anyone. And if you remember when you were younger, those people that were like, oh, you know, that did ask for help a lot, or they were drama queens. And sometimes they were just wanting attention. And so that happened. There were some people that just wanted attention. There were some people that were doing it for the drama effect, wanting help and stuff. So they kind of gave it a bad name. So back then, if you were always doing something or asking for help or something, then you were needy, or like I said, you were not self-reliant. You were dependent on, you know, and so we were raised like that. A good person doesn't become a burden. A good person, um, doesn't whine and complain about their lives all the time. I was put into the foster care system when I was younger, and as part of being in the system, you had to go to therapy. And the therapist liked to blame all of my issues on my mom, and I kept telling them, yeah, yeah. And I'll bet that in the foster care system, you didn't get a very good therapist. I'll bet. Hello, Brandy. How are you? Even with all the therapy I've had, it's hard to ask my friends for help right now. I am asking, but it feels like I am a burden bother, right? I think that's something that's ingrained in us from childhood. I find having a cat releases a lot of stress, and people with pets generally does a lot better than people who don't. That's true, Patrick, because when I'm feeling stressed and one of my kitties comes and sits on my lap, or the big guy, I get to hug him. Um, it makes me feel so much better, because that's an unconditional love, that they don't care. They don't care if you messed up or if you said the wrong words. They don't care if you don't look perfect. They still love you. And I think that's why pets are just the best. I had two parents. Doesn't my father have anything to do with my issues? Oh, right. Yeah, I don't think in the system you got a really good therapist, especially at that age, at that time. Yeah. I have a lot of cats and it stresses me out. LOL. We have like 30. Most are outside. I think you have where people are dropping cats off around your neighborhood and stuff, Brandy. And that's just wrong. People should not be doing that. And especially not fixed cats. People are just adding to the problem and not helping. Yeah. Hashtag cat therapy. Yes. I like it, Patrick. I like it. But yeah, even cats and dogs and whatever animals you enjoy. Snakes, a rat. My cousin had a rat. She loved that rat. Yeah. Yeah, we almost have fixed all the females. That's great. That's great, Brandy. You guys are doing a good thing. And people who just dump their cats off are just wrong. Wrong, wrong. Yeah. No, and now going to a therapist gives me anxiety big time. Okay. My cats know me well enough that they have been really mourning with me. They sense your energy, I believe, Joe. I really do. Like when I'm sick, They seem to be calmer and nicer and wanna be snugglier, but, and if I'm just watching TV chill and they want to, they'll just chill with me as well, but I just have 3, Brandy, so 30 is definitely stressful, but just having 3 of my own all our kitties have gone back to the, cat rescue, so I am foster cat free right now, so I'm just really getting to know my little kitten. He's old enough where he still won't let me pick him up because if I pick him up, he'll jump out of my hands, but he'll get on me, and that's okay. So, and I told you guys he was feral, so yeah. I used to go spend time in the chicken coop at Old House. The chickens we had there really helped me with my depression and anxiety. Then that's your pet, Brandy. Because, like I said, everybody's is different. Some people have dogs, cats. Like I said, my cousin had rats, and she always got one of those feeder rats. So she felt like she was rescuing a rat from death. And then she would raise them, keep them, and then, excuse me. Um, so yeah, so chickens are probably your animal, but he is just not old enough to understand he has laid with me since it happened, even though he normally lays with Jason. Aw, yes, they do. Animals sense if people's moods. Yeah, Shelly, I think so. I call it energy, but that's the same thing. They get sense your moods. The chickens used to jump on my shoulders or in my lap, a couple few up to my head. Oops, sense people's moods. Sorry, brain fart is real. Oh, don't worry, Shelly. Don't worry. Yeah, I call it energy, but it's the same thing. They sense how we're doing. And when we're depressed, we give off a certain energy that they feel, or sad, or tired, or, those type of things. So I think pets are awesome, especially if you have any type of mental disorder or I'm sorry, any type of mental health issue, not disorder, um mental health issue. Um so yeah, and we don't have to ask them for help. They just give it. The unconditional love, the unconditional, and I've heard, and Patrick, you may have heard this as well if you're still here, that the purr of a cat, the vibrations that a cat purrs at are calming to humans. They're good for us. Yup. And I know, Shelley, you had a dog, but I think, did your dog pass away? Do you have any pets right now? Okay. All right. So I'm going to read a little bit more. What gets in the way? Why it's so hard to ask for help? As a psychoanalyst, executive coach, and professor of leadership development, I work to understand the psychological processes underlying people's reactions and behavior. I have identified a number of common patterns driving the go it alone mentality. The fear of being vulnerable. For people who are insecure and preoccupied with others' perceptions of them, asking for help feels like a sign of weakness. They're afraid that it will make them look incompetent and inferior. Some may also suffer from a usually unjustified imposter syndrome and worry others that will see through their carefully constructed facades. So they keep people at arm's length and try to manage everything on their own. The fear of being vulnerable. The only chicken we have now that gives me any attention is the rooster, but he likes to attack me on my way out to the coop. I had 2 dogs and lost my younger dog, but still have the older one. Okay, I knew you had lost a dog. I just wasn't sure. So that's good. You still have a BFF with you, your buddy. I keep losing. Why do I keep doing that? Are you guys, I think my internet's acting weird. So hopefully we're all still here. So the fear of, what was it again? The fear of being vulnerable. So sign of weakness, um, makes you feel incompetent or inferior, suffer from imposter syndrome, and worry that others will see through it. So you keep people at arm's length. So definitely um others' perceptions. I can't see my life without a dog in it, right? I can't either, not without a pet. Yeah. So okay, so let me make it bigger so I can actually read it. Oh, right here. Okay. So the fear of being vulnerable for people who are insecure and preoccupied, asking for help feels like a sign of weakness. And it was considered a sign of weakness, especially when we were younger. It was very much considered a sign of weakness to ask for help. What's wrong? You can't deal with it yourself? What's wrong with you? You know? And to be weak was to be vulnerable, and you could get hurt. So, yeah. Yes, Miss Shelley. So, and that was the reality of that time. We didn't share a lot with, like I said, there are some family members I don't care for, and there's a reason I don't, because I wouldn't want to be vulnerable in front of them. They would take advantage, or call you names, or be condescending or snarky, or and they were the ones that had issues as well. They were being mean to you because they knew you were vulnerable, and they could be mean to you because they were something wrong with them too. And that's from my childhood. So, okay. Asking for help feels like a sign of weakness. We just said that. And incompetent or inferior. And that's another with the vulnerability, because if someone thinks you're incompetent or inferior, they're going to take advantage of you. Same thing. I think for me, that's something that I grew up with. You don't show weakness because you could be hurt, friends or family, whoever. And the ones closest to you knew your vulnerabilities, and those are the people that could hurt you the most, right? So now I try to keep people close to me that are considerate, that don't judge me, um, that I can be vulnerable with and don't think that they're going to try to hurt me or anything. I still don't like being vulnerable. I understand, Shelley. It's something that's hard to get. That's why asking for help is hard. Once you ask for help, all the things that we're talking about, they start to seem, um, what is it? Now they seem like, well, they definitely barriers you have to get through. There's no doubt about it. Because I still go back into those feeling vulnerable and not liking that and things like that. I still go back into that, but I try to live every day as my authentic self, who is a vulnerable person. Because remember, I don't know if you guys had this happen to you when you were young, but crying was definitely something you didn't do. You did not cry. Don't cry. Don't be a baby. Don't, you'd be embarrassed. I still am embarrassed if I start crying. And that all comes from that same time in my life when it showed that you were vulnerable, and people would try to take advantage of you, or think you're weak, or what's wrong with you, why do you cry, that kind of stuff. So that was part of that. Take care of yourself, be your own, all that. And that's another part of being vulnerable. Now, like I said, sometimes I'm still embarrassed, but I have gotten over that more and more and more. Crying was a no-no. Absolutely. Absolutely. And just cousins, boys and girls, could just be so mean. And, um, even family members, aunts and uncles, just start calling you names, crybaby, and that kind of stuff. And, yeah, crying was a no-no. It took a long, like I said, I'm 54, I'm 55 I'm gonna be 56 this year, I think. I'm so bad at that. So I would have to tell you only in the last 10, 15 years have I been able to do that. I always heard, I'll give you something to cry about. Oh, yeah. I remember that too. Yep. Yep. I remember that, Shelley. Yep. So only in the last maybe 10 or 15 years have I actually been able to cry in front of my family. And I'm at the age now that if anybody makes fun of me or tries to, they don't do that. That's not that's not Crystal. Crystal, you can say all you want to say, but if you say it to my face, then we're gonna have an issue. Same Shelley Brady said. Yep. So maybe the last 10 years, I've been able to actually cry in front of my family. And I encourage them to do so as well. Because all my family, all my brothers and sisters were brought up like that. My mom, my dad, he's not here anymore, and her family were all brought up like that. You had to be tough. Like, remember, people make it west pioneers and being weak people. And so that's kind of how the mentality came, I think, from the era and carried on from family to family. To survive, you can't be weak. You can't show signs of weakness. Yo, your internet is being a brat. Did I go out again? I know it keeps going out on me. I don't know why. So I'm thinking it's something with the service, and we actually lost internet the other day too. So can you see me right now? Can you see me and hear me? Anybody? Mm, Let me go on YouTube. Just freezing up every once in a while. Okay. I can see and hear. Okay. Yeah, it is. All of a sudden I'll have a black screen with the circle of death, and then I'm like, did I lose them? Because one time we lost internet and everybody, we froze and we didn't unfreeze, but we were on the live chatting, me and Jamie, but to everyone else we were frozen. So yeah. So okay. Okay, that's good. So yeah, so we were raised in that era, and not to say that people aren't still like that, because it takes a long time to overcome those ingrained generation to generation things. So everybody is not open to that in my family. But if I do show any type of emotion or anything like that, I don't get any talk back, or don't do that. They don't do that anymore, because I won't put up with that anymore in my life. So, but again, because I only want to be vulnerable with certain people, my social group is not huge. It's not huge. And that's why when I was doing YouTube, trying to get all the subscribers and all that, it was really stressing me out. And now just doing the Wellness Wednesday, and then Jamie and I are going to start Slumber Party again up. We don't have anything solid yet, but we're going to start that again up. Just those small circles of people that I can be honest with. And I don't want to be so big that the trolls are coming for me. I'm more comfortable now. I enjoy coming on YouTube. I enjoy talking to people on YouTube, but like, as far as getting back into doing videos and things like that, I'm not sure if that's going to happen for me. I always want to, like, I want to review something I'm using, and I always intend to, and then I'm like, I don't want to. So, yeah. And I did love editing videos, so there was that. I've been staying away from YouTube. Yeah. I haven't been on it very much lately either, no. I went on a few weeks ago and watched some videos. Um, but yeah, I don't go on there a lot other than these lives. So, but minimizing, like, not wanting to get all those, not worrying about getting all those followers, and just doing what I enjoy and what is beneficial to me has been so good for me, especially these Wellness Wednesdays. These help me as much as they help anybody else. So, yeah, I watch videos, but as far as doing lives, no. And that's another thing, Shelly. Like, if you notice, everybody's blue in here. We don't tolerate people coming in that we don't know, trying to come in here and make us feel bad about our mental health and things like that. We don't tolerate it. So everybody that has been here for any amount of time is blue and is a moderator and can shut down anybody at any time. And sometimes it accidentally happens, but that is what it is. But yeah, so we no bullying, no, snarkiness, none of that. And I really don't have any problems, now in my life with that kind of stuff. So, but if I had 5,000 subscribers, I might. And we couldn't talk like this. We couldn't talk to each other like this, because once you get in those big lives with, like, those big YouTubers, and now you have to subscribe and get little things by your name in order for them to notice you. And then so your comments, if you're not having a bunch of whatever icons that they give you for your levels or whatever, they're not seeing you, and you're not really chatting with them. So trolls don't bother me. It's the fake people that bother me. Well, I think trolls are also fake people. So yeah, I don't like fake people either. That's why I try to be, especially on Wellness Wednesdays, authentic. On slumber parties, I'm just having a good time, having some wine, and we're just, being funny and silly and stuff. So that's the only place we've ever had issues, because it's late at night. But we haven't done it in so long. May not be. But we definitely want to get back to that, because we want to do the trivia, and we want to give out prizes and stuff. So yeah. Um so yeah, I understand you staying away from YouTube, because I had to cut it down. It was just, and I was trying to do, I don't know how people do 5 to 7 videos a week. I was just trying to do one a week, and it was just too much. Too much. So, yeah. Yeah. And then collabs, I was in some collabs. It's the people that act like they're your friends as long as it gets them somewhere. Oh, yeah. Well, since I'm not trying to be a big channel, I don't get that too much, because they really, I cannot benefit anybody in any way other than, if you want to chat with us in one of our lives, yeah, as long as it gets them somewhere. Yeah, I can't help anybody out. I can't get you more subscribers. I I can't, I've always thought about maybe editing videos for people, but I'm not sure how I would do that. And but I'm so busy now that I don't really have time for that either. So, it's funny how being retired you get busier than when you worked. It was always busy at work, work, work. But now my social life is just blooming. Yeah. Yeah. And I understand that, Shelley. I do. Okay. So we've been talking about vulnerabilities. Are there any other things that maybe you were told when you were growing up that have stuck with you about, and you think that have hindered your asking for help? Go ahead and put that in the chat if you want. Hell, I might even help people lose subs, right? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, you may not want me on your channel for that reason. But yeah, this is a safe space. We can talk about whatever we need to talk about here, and that's really all it is. It's not we're not gaining followers, we're not gaining subscribers, we're not gaining anything. Uh we're not gaining what PR. We're not doing any of that. Yeah. Yeah, we're just hanging out trying to figure out life and help our mental health. I mean, or just have a good time like on slumber party. So, and I know Jamie is still in Florida, but she's supposed to be back in the next few days. I need to text her and find out how she's doing. She was down there when that hurricane hit, but she wasn't in the area that the hurricane hit, so I haven't gotten a chance to talk to her. Hey, Nay, how are you doing today? Yeah, yeah. So, if you guys have any other things that you remember from when you were little, any sayings that your parents used to say that, but that one that you said, Shelly, I'll give you something to cry about. I heard that a lot. I heard that a lot. Because even though we can't be vulnerable, we have to be strong. We can't show any vulnerabilities because we'll get made fun of or whatever. Even though I still had a soft heart, but my outer shell was hard. So, even though I was acting tough and trying to be tough and not cry and do all the things that I was told to do, um, inside my little inner child Crystal was just withered up in a corner, probably bawling her eyes out. Yeah. So, same here, Shelly said. Yeah. So I have a hard candy coating, but a soft, gooey center. Yeah. And now, after, like I said, 40 years, I'm in my 50s now. I was told to suck it up because so many other people have it worse. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it's not that that's not a true statement. It's just that when you're a kid, that hurts. I act up, but I'm really not at all. I've seen your post. You have the soft, gooey center as well, Shelley. Yeah. Yeah. Those things still hurt us when we were kids, and they stuck with us because there are people that have it worse than us. Who are we to be all weepy and sad? Well, we need to do those things. We need to be heard. We need to feel our feelings, and we just didn't know it back then. We didn't know it. So I don't blame any family members. I don't blame, it's what they knew, it's what they did. But now today in 2024, if they come at me like that, I'm like, hey, you need to get over that stuff, you know. So I don't have too much trouble like that. Like I told you, I keep my family and my YouTube separate. Although my sister has been on my Wellness Wednesdays, and my good friend, my best friend since I was in second grade, sometimes she rewatches my lives as well. But those are people I trust and I love and I can be vulnerable with. And they won't judge me and they won't, excuse me, try to make me feel bad about what I'm dealing with. All right. Let's go on to let's look at that next one. This will make it a little bigger, I think. Yeah. The next one is the need to be independent. Okay. When you prioritize self reliance and self sufficiency, asking for help feels uncomfortable. Perhaps because of their family and cultural backgrounds, many people believe they should be capable of handling everything solo. Programmed to play Lone Ranger, they tend to struggle in situations where the emphasis is on teamwork. Independence is critical to their self image. Now, I don't blame family, I blame society and culture. Yeah, exactly. Yup. Yup. So, I mean, they did the best they could um, with what they knew, and some of them didn't do good. Some of our family members back then weren't good. Um, but the ones that were good were just trying to do the best they could. So, yeah. Yeah, right, Shelley. And I think culture is a big, big thing. Like I said, I think it comes back from way, way back when you had to be tough just to survive, just to live, back in those colonial days and whatnot. And I think it's just ingrained generation to generation to generation. And finally, we got to break those generational curses. I don't know if you've ever heard that said before, but yeah, I really believe that. And I think every family has some type of generational thing. Nobody's perfect. My mom did the best she could in dealing with her own mental health. Right. And they were from an even more stringent time where you couldn't be, if you had mental health issues, you were going into an asylum, you know, if you couldn't control them. So, um, you and those places were very, very bad, very bad. Especially when you see like any history channel stuff on any what they called insane asylums. They didn't call them mental health facilities like they do now. They didn't, the insane was not a good thing, and that was all ignorance and like culture. So I think it comes from that far back, and we just got to break the chains, and it's hard to do. That's why asking for help is so hard. To be that person who steps out and says, I can't do this anymore, um, is very difficult. It's very brave if you can do it, and it's not easy. And to get the people that you love on board is not easy either. And being vulnerable with them and telling them the things that you've gone through sometimes can help. And then there may be that family member who just doesn't want to have anything to do with it, and there's nothing you could do about that. So, yeah. So the independent thing, being independent, that was a big thing for me. Now, I was an oldest child, and my parents were very young when they had me. So I always felt like I had to be the responsible one. I had to be, take care of my brothers and sisters. I had to be, the I didn't have a lot of fun when I was a kid, let's just say. So because I always felt like I needed to watch over them and be responsible, and every time my mom had a seizure, they would put her in the mental part of the hospital, and to this day, it still confused me. Yeah, yeah. And that's ignorance. They didn't understand it, and they didn't know what to do with it. I believe that that is ignorance, because we know now seizures are not a mental health thing. Hey, Zach. Hey. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, Mr. Zach. I like hearing you or reading your text in our chat group. So please keep it up. I love your randomness as well, Zach. Good to see you. Um okay, so the independent thing, that was a really big thing for me, because to be independent, or to be in charge, or I didn't need anybody, I didn't need anything. You don't ask for help. You don't act like you need help. You just don't. My mom told me all about her friends having to go through shock therapy. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And thank God they don't do that anymore either. Um, I have heard that in extreme cases they will attempt it, but I don't think it's a normal or a recommended treatment any longer. So, yeah. And I wouldn't trust a doctor who actually did that. So, I remember going to visit my mom in there and she was like a zombie because that's all they did back. They just sedated them. They didn't try to help them. There was no therapy. They weren't interested in helping them get better. They only knew there was a problem and this is how they could solve it. Give them drugs so they can't hurt anybody or themselves. Um, and like we know now, having seizures is not, I mean, it, it wasn't a mental health condition. So today's shock therapy is actually different today. Also, it's not so severe. So I know some people, like we said, some people, doctors still use it. Um, In extreme cases, I believe. I don't think they do it as much as they did back in the day. So, um, so I understand that it's not so severe and that they use it more sparingly, I think, now. My dad's in therapy right now. He tried to kill himself by overdosing on his medication. Thank God he didn't. He just had a seizure, then got put in the hospital for a few days. Is this recent, Zach? I know your dad is in therapy because you've told me. Um, and that that's one of the reasons that you had considered possibly entering therapy because your dad was in there. So I'm not sure if this is something that happened recently or that is something that happened a long time ago. Back then, having epilepsy was considered they were crazy. Yeah, I believe it was sometime this year. I don't remember. Okay, okay, okay. Well, I hope he's doing better, Zach. I hope he's doing better with therapy and everything. Um, okay, so the independent thing, like I said, I was oldest. Anybody here oldest or um like my husband wasn't the oldest, but there was two groups of kids. Like they had a bunch of kids when they were young, and then when they got older, then they had a bunch of kids. He was the oldest of the second group. So there is that as well. He realized that his wife and kids were worth living for, and he was worth it. That's great, Zach. That's great. Um, and I know we haven't talked about it because I'm not sure if YouTube will flag us, but suicidal ideation is a very difficult topic, and a lot of people don't understand it. So I'm glad he's doing better. And of course, he is worth living. I was the second to the youngest. It blows my mind that my panic attacks over my father's death would have put me in the mental hospital in the past. Right, Joe? Yeah. So I'm the baby of the family, Joe said. Okay. Well, then, if you have an older sibling, of course, if you're not the oldest, you do. And I don't know if it's a common trait, but in my family, I felt like I needed to be an adult when I was younger. I needed to be responsible. Um, I didn't know how to just play and be a kid. I'm the youngest of three boys, my poor mother. I'm sure that she loves you just so much, Zach. Mm. And three boys, y'all were handfuls, I'll bet. Yeah. So, um, so this resonates with me, I guess is all I'm saying that this the need to be independent. I always felt I needed to be in control. I have still to this day have control issues, but when I was younger, if I didn't get my way, this is a control issue, I would just freak out. Freak out. Um and at that age, nobody understood. I didn't understand what was going on, but I would just freak out, lose it. And that's when the crying would happen and it was unstoppable. So, and it would make me mad that I would cry because I couldn't control that and I was trying to control everything else in my life. So yeah, the independence thing really resonated with me. I wrote my name on the hallway wall when I was younger down in the basement. It won't come off. I use permanent marker. Yeah, my mom wasn't a happy camper when I did that, right? I bet, Zach. Is it still there to this day? Oh, it is. It's still there to this day. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see what do we got here. The need to be independent. Okay. More control issues. I guess I have a lot of these control issues. The fear of losing control. Okay. Some people won't ask for help because they don't want to be beholden to anyone. They may have trust issues and dislike putting themselves in the hands of other people. Right, because if you did that, you were weak. Um, and just like, okay, the power shift that a help request might generate makes them uneasy. Consequently, they would rather carry the burden of their problems alone. Okay, Zach says, so now if we sell the house, it needs a few renovations and we need to paint that wall. Absolutely, Zach. I am so sure. Yeah. So that was me also. Fear of losing control. Um, and that was another reason I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't trust anybody because I don't know. I'm sure lots of us here have had this. You trust someone and then they hurt you when you're little because we're naive. We trust everybody. And so we learn from that. So then we don't want to trust anybody because we don't want to be hurt. It's not pleasant. Joe and I are the babies of the family. Yup. The youngest. And I'm really close to my youngest sister, by the way. I try to be close to all my family, but we're really close because we both live in the same city. Everybody else lives further away. Not too far, but further away, like 45 minutes. And so we're a lot closer. So yeah, I definitely would rather carry burdens than trust someone with any issues that I felt like I was having because they would just turn around and use them to hurt you. And that happened to me several times. So in my, let's say in my teen years and in my 20s, even into my 30s, very untrusting. Didn't trust anybody, not even my poor husband. And so he had to deal with me in that situation. I'm much better now, by the way. Okay. So the next, these all are kind of go together. The fear of rejection. We don't trust anybody because we've been rejected or hurt. And so there is that. Okay. Many of us overestimate the likelihood that the people we're asking for help will say no. For those who associate rejection with an attack on their self worth, that's a big obstacle. They don't seem to realize that there could be many reasons why a person who was being asked for help wouldn't be available. Oh, my Amazon box is here. Well, look at that. Oh, what time is it? Am I just droning on and on and on? 2:42. We got 15 minutes. If people knew the thoughts that go through my head on a daily, I'd be not only in a mental hospital, but under the. That's why we get a therapist that's good, not the one that you had. You were in a group situation as well, it sounds like, Shelley. Or was it just one-on-one therapy? But I really am so sorry that happened to you because a good therapist can be very, very helpful. And you had to go through a really bad situation. Yeah, if I didn't take my medication, I'd be right there with you, Shelly. I'd be right there with you. So, okay. Let's see. What's the next one? See if we can finish this one article and we'll save the other ones for next week. Over empathizing with others. Some people are so attuned to the emotions of others that they anticipate reactions such as a feeling of burdened that might not materialize. They won't request help because they don't want to be seen as entitled, selfish, or bothersome. They feel they must win love by taking care of and protecting others while hiding or ignoring their own needs. Now, you've heard the term empath before. I'm scared to go to therapy, though part of me wants to phone the doctor and tell her to take me off the list, but the other part of me is like, you need this. Yes, you do need this. Yeah. And remember, Zach, if you don't get along with your therapist, especially in a setting where you can choose your therapist, where I don't think Shelly had that option. You can choose a different therapist. If you don't get along with your therapist, don't feel like you have to stay with that person. If you don't feel like you can trust them or you don't feel like you can tell them your deepest, darkest stuff and it will be kept private, find somebody else. And you can do that. It's okay to do that. I want you to know that. I like to talk to a therapist, but my PTSD stops me from trying to find one. Well, we're going to also, in this asking for help segment, Shelly, it's going to be a couple months. We're also going to do how to find good help. So we're going to cover that as well. And we'll do some articles and we'll talk about it. Talk about our, things that we've gone through and how we found good therapists if we have them. And hopefully that will help. But PTSD is difficult to get past. That's a very, very difficult mental health issue. And I would also recommend that the therapist that you seek out is well versed in PTSD. So they should understand what you're going through and not say, well, that's crazy, that's wrong. All therapists are not your therapists. All therapists are not good therapists. You have the right to choose now that you're older, Shelly, with your insurance. You have the right to choose. If you don't like your therapist, you can choose a different one. In your situation as a young person, I don't think you had that choice, but you do now. Hey, Wilma, I'm back. Just put hubby in bed to rest. Awesome. So you said he is on the mend, so that's very, very good. Very, very good. Glad to hear that. Oh, I just found my other glasses. Okay. Um, I've talked to my doctor about it and has recommended one, but not sure. I would definitely find someone who is well versed in PTSD. And Shelly, if you don't like them, you do not have to go back to them. No worries, Wilma. Always, always here for you. Always here. Um, we think that we have to stay with that doctor. But in order to be our own advocate, we need to realize that we don't have to stay with a bad doctor. We don't, but we always thought doctors were like when we were younger. Didn't you think the doctors knew everything? Doctors should be all knowing, all seeing. They should know everything. They should be able to cure you of everything. Well, they're just people. And some doctors are good and some doctors are not. And I'm using Dr. General as in therapy, psychiatrist, your OB/GYN, your general doctor, all the doctors. There are bad doctors and good doctors everywhere. I am helping a friend now with PTSD. He calls me when he feels it and I calm him down and tell jokes. That's awesome, Wilma. Plus, I only have Medicaid, so not sure what it covers. That's difficult with Medicaid, but it will cover something. You gotta search it out. And because my one friend's daughter has Medicaid, and she has a good therapist now, but she went through a good 2 or 3, I think, before she got there. So even with Medicaid, you should have options. And you might have to travel a little further to get a better doctor. You have to decide if that's what you would want to do. If you have a good car and that type of stuff. Yeah. That's awesome, Wilma. That's awesome that you can help him like that. Um, okay, what were we talking about? Let me look at my screen and see. We were going to try to get through this one, but I don't know if we will. Um, Over empathizing with others. Um, you've heard people say, I feel like I'm an empath. Yeah, you would need a good car. Yeah. That's important if you got to travel to see your doctors. Yeah. Um, People use that term loosely. I feel like I'm an empath. I'm an empath. And, but I think this is a better explanation of that type of a thing. Over empathizing with others. Some people are so attuned to the emotions of others that they anticipate reactions such as feeling burdened and that might not materialize. They won't request help because they don't want to be seen as entitled, selfish, or bothersome. I think those are some of the terms we've been trying to speak on as well. You don't want to you don't want to feel bothersome, selfish, or entitled. And I think that when we were younger, a lot of people thought that was people who had mental health issues were bothersome, and some were entitled, and some were um bothersome, entitled, and what was it? Selfish. But not everybody is like that. You're a little kid, you don't understand. Just because you are trying to get attention, that doesn't mean you're selfish, or because you get attention for whatever reason, that doesn't mean you're selfish. So this, Shelley, I think is another way to say that, because I feel like this is more descriptive of what I am. I don't want to be a bother to other people. I don't want them to think I'm selfish or entitled. None of that. And so I try to feel what they feel. And again, I go with energies on this. Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Okay. That I try to feel people's energies, and if their energies aren't positive, I feel like I wouldn't wanna bother them. I wouldn't want them to feel like I'm, you know, being selfish, or, any of those things. So, but our energies vary from time to, all the time. So, you may not always have a positive energy even though you try to be a positive person. Um So if you ask that person today, you may feel like, I'm not going to ask them. But tomorrow, it may be a different kind of an energy. They may be more positive that day. But we don't give ourselves that leeway or that benefit of the doubt, or we don't give ourselves that grace. So yeah, yeah, I understand, Shelley. That I definitely resonate with, because I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want them to think that I want to monopolize their time, and that I am selfish. I don't want them to, so we do it ourselves. And that's another thing there, is that we care about how other people see us or feel about us. And I don't want to say I don't care, but what we need to realize is someone's feeling about us is their feeling, not our feeling about us. Our feeling needs to be different. I feel people's energy hardcore. Exactly. Yes. And I don't classify myself as an empath, but I am big on energy. So I stay away from people who have energy that I don't like, which I call them um, crazy people. And you can probably, a lot of us here can attest with our pets. I had I had the sweetest chihuahua. He loved everybody, but there were 2 family members. When they would come to my house, because we used to have barbecues when I had a house, long time ago before I was depressed and all that, we had barbecues. He would nonstop follow these 2 guys around the yard and bark nonstop at them. And they had not only mental health issues, but they were also self-medicating. Um, and they were not, say, the best of the best. Yeah, it should be a them issue, not a you issue. I agree 100%. Yeah. And when we get to that point, it's not that we don't care about their feelings, it's that the way that they feel about us doesn't affect us because it's not our feelings, it's their feelings, right? And it's hard to get to that place though. It's a place you have to get to. Because when we were younger, it was important for um our feelings were kind of the last thing. Remember, kids should be seen and not heard, you know. Yeah. So I can't remember what I was just saying. Uh, I don't remember what I was just saying. I can't rewind either. But whatever I was saying, let me look at the page again. It was about the over empathizing with others. Yeah. So I feel, yeah, I do. I feel like energy is big. Oh, the pets. Like your pets, like we were just talking, they know when you don't feel well. They know when you're happy. I believe it's all about the energy that you give to the pets and that the pets return to you. I think that's what soothes us is their energy. So I'm big on this energy thing. When I talk to my family and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that person, their energy may not be a good energy for you. This person, and what we were talking about, I was talking to one of my other friends, like, have you ever, and you might resonate with this, Shelly, have you ever not liked somebody for a reason you don't know, but everyone else loves them? But you just something about them just does not sit well with you. And so I'm not saying I hated that person. I just did not try to be that person's friend because I don't think that their energy messed with my energy. Yeah. Okay, good. So yeah, and it's like everybody loves that person, but I just need to stay away from that person for some reason. Just yeah, something's not meshing. Yeah. And so I think that's the energy thing. I think we just sense that energy in that person. Not to say it's negative or positive. I'm just saying that their energies didn't mesh with ours. And so we got like a feeling of like, I don't understand why everybody loves this person. I mean, that's great that you do. Like when I was younger, I just didn't like the person. I wasn't as evolved as I am now. I mean, that's great that you like the person and that you think that they're sweet. I just don't get that vibe, right? The vibes from us. Yeah, they don't even have to speak. Yeah. It should be an us issue, but when you feel people's energy, you feel that energy and it messes with you. Yeah, especially if it's and when I say negative energy and positive energy, I should clarify. I don't mean like bad energy or good. I mean their vibe is not your vibe. And sometimes you can it may be not a good person. And so you just don't want to be around them, but you may not know that they're not a good person. You feel that too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They don't even have to speak. So the word empath, I think, is overused on YouTube. But this right here, this over empathizing with others, this is something that I definitely understand. So let me see what time it is again. We only got 3 minutes. Thank you, Shelly. I love your energy too. My tea got cold on me. So yeah, the over empathizing with others. Um that's just something that really resonates with me because I think when I was younger, it was very overpowering for me. Like now we understand the energy thing, Shelly, but when we were little, we didn't know what that was. We didn't know why we didn't want to be around a certain family member. We didn't know why um, we didn't want to be friends with a certain person, or, you know, we didn't understand that back then. So we did these things. We were attuned to those vibrations, and we didn't speak on them. We didn't address them. Most people don't, and I've gotten to the point where I don't care. Oh, yeah. And I think that those people they're not understanding the energies. And again, I think too, Shelley, that some people's energy is just not for us. So, yeah, and that's another thing it's I don't think it's that you don't care, it's that there's nothing you can do about it. So why care? You know, if your energy doesn't mesh with my energy, we just need to go our own way. We shouldn't try to force something, you know? Yeah. So I totally get that. That totally resonates with me. And like I said, when we were little, I still think we had this, but we didn't know what it was. There was no name for it. And it did cause a lot of anxiety in me. I believe I've had anxiety since I was a little one. And but the depression came later in life. Just life changes. So I've always had a mental health issue, just didn't realize it. And sometimes the people like us who have anxiety, who have depression, sometimes it's because we feel those energies. So there is that as well. So it looks like there's just a couple people here right now. So it is 2:59. So I think we're gonna pause it there, the over empathizing with others. And I'm gonna keep these articles for next week. And we are just gonna continue with this one. A sense of victimhood. Yeah. We're just going to continue on with that because I think it's really important that we start to understand things like this. For me, anyway, and hopefully for you guys, um, when I understand something, because I'm a big control freak, but when I understand something, I am able to deal with it better once I understand it, even how something works, like electricity. You know, I'm an electrician. Once I can understand how it works, I can help fix things. I can understand better. I've tried to be friends with someone that the energy didn't mesh and it caused me more stress. Absolutely. Those are like sometimes called toxic friends. And sometimes, like I said, we just don't mesh. So, but yeah, so we'll continue on this route. It could be a couple months, it could be a lot longer than that, but I think it's important because it's so hard for us to ask for help. And once we get over that hump and we can ask for help, it's so liberating. It's very liberating, and it helps us to understand better our mental health issues as well. So it's been great talking to you guys. And Shelly, I'm so glad you came today. I hope this was helpful for you because it was very helpful for me. And we'll continue this chat on Wednesday. It's Wellness Wednesdays, Mental Health Wednesdays at 1:30 every Wednesday unless I cancel it. And that's all I've got for today. So I will see you guys next week. You are welcome, Shelly. It's been great talking to you. And hope we see you next week if you're feeling it. If you can come. If you can't, no worries. We're just chill here, you know. And so I will see you guys later. I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody. Bye.